welcome to Phase 4-5 Live. We have a great show for you tonight. Oh, we have a show going on here. We have a
Social distancing.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're supposed to stay 6 feet apart. All right, this is better. Guys, welcome to Phase 4-5 Live. We have a great show for you tonight. We've got funny videos from your preteen challenge. We have drawing with Mr. John, and we have some great music from our Phase 4-5 Live band. I'm glad that y'all can be here. We're going to kick the night off with our funny videos from you for our preteen challenge.
Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Time to have some fun at 4-5 show. Hey ho, here we go. Turn up some fun at 4-5 Show. Hey, ho, here we go. Turn up some fun at 4-5 Show. Hey, ho, here we go. Turn up some fun at 4-5 Show.
Keep trying.
Those are some great videos. Thanks for sending those in. We're going to do preteen challenges every week, so be watching for that at the end of the video to see what next week's challenge is going to be. So tonight we have a question for you. I want to ask you, do you know what it's like to know if a dollar bill is real or fake? Counterfeit is the big word for that. Do you know how to tell those apart? We have a fun skit explaining exactly what that means. So counterfeit, do you know what that means? Being able to tell if something is real or fake. We're going to be talking about the age-old question of who is God. We're going to look in our Bibles tonight in Isaiah in the Old Testament. We're going to be in chapter 46. I'm going to start here with the second half of verse 4, and I'm going to read through 10. So read this with me. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. With whom will you compare me or count me equal? To whom will you liken me, that we may be compared? Some pour out gold for their bags and weigh out silver on their scales. They hire a goldsmith to make it into a god, and they bow down and worship it. They lift it on their shoulders and carry it. They set it up in its place, and there it stands. From that spot it cannot move. Even though someone cries out to it, it cannot answer. It cannot save them from their troubles. Remember this. Keep it in mind. Take it to heart, you rebels. Remember the former things, those of long ago. I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is none like me. I make known the end from the beginning, from the ancients of times, what is still to come. So that is in Isaiah chapter 46, and this is God talking about himself to the Israelites. He's reminding them about whenever they would have false gods that they would worship. They would take their gold and their silver or different things and melt it down to make these statues, and they would bow down and worship them. Even though they would just be this statue standing there, they would think that it would answer their prayers, but those aren't real. They're fake. They're counterfeit. And so God is reminding us in this section that there is no one like him. There is no one that can equal to him because he is God. And he is the real God who does answer. And we bow down to these counterfeit things, and we even do that in our world today. But this is where God is reminding them that no one is like him. He is the one true God, and there is no one equal to him.
Hey guys, I'm John. Welcome to my art studio. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you need is a funny idea. I went for a walk today because I've been indoors, and I got an idea of all the birds outside. And I thought about, let's draw some birds in a funny scene, okay? So if you want to draw some easy cartoon birds, it's just a lot of triangles and different shapes. So here's his buddy. Here's his beak. What I like to do is just draw funny cartoons, and you don't have to be the world's best artist, because it's really more about the funny joke than anything else. So let's draw another bird over here. Let's give this guy some glasses or something, just to make it kind of interesting. Since I know a lot of you can't go to school and you're at home doing online class, I thought, what if the birds had to do online class? And maybe this guy is asking, do we have any homework? Last thing you want to do is always sign your picture with your name. All right, and there you have it. There's our picture, our little cartoon of some birds, online class for birds. See you next week, and I'll draw with you again later. Hey, hey, I'm still mic'd up.
and welcome back to the show. We have some callers on the line tonight. Let's see, we've got our first one coming in from Leroy in North Dakota. Leroy, what is your question of the day?
Hi. Yeah, I've just heard a lot about this dude named God, and I was just wondering, what is God like? Do you know?
You know, Leroy, I do, and I'm so glad that you called and asked that. We know that there is no one like God. And so if we're going to talk about who God is, we need to first look at his attributes. That's a big word. Attributes are the different characteristics of God. You know, and he talks about that all throughout the Bible. But especially in Isaiah chapter 46, there's different attributes that he lists. So let's go over those really quick. God says that he is the creator. God is Savior. God is merciful. God is all-powerful. God is sovereign. God tells us he is holy, and he shows us his goodness. And then he also says that he is omniscient. And so those are great questions, Leroy. I am so glad that you called and asked about what is God like. All right, let's see. We have another caller coming in. Let's see. We have Joe coming in. Joe, what is your question today?
What is omniscient? What?
All right, Joe, I'm glad you called. I did. I left off that last caller with a big word. Omniscient. So, yes, omniscient means that God is all-knowing. That is our big word for the day. Omniscience means all-knowing. And so we know that all of these characteristics are true about God because he told us that in his word. So I'm so glad we had great callers tonight with some great questions. What is God like? What is omniscience? We learned about the characteristics of God, his different attributes. And so I'm glad that y'all were here tonight. I hope you join us next week for our next session that we have. And so have a great night, and we will see you next week. So our last question of the day is, does God really know everything? So let me ask you this. Where do you normally turn whenever you want to get information? You know, we live in a culture now where it's easy to turn on our phone. We can Google things, ask Siri, Alexa. We can text our friends, ask our parents. We have a world of information at our fingertips. But, you know, no matter how many advances we have in technology or the knowledge that we have, we can't know everything, and we can't trust that everything that we know is true. You know, you may say, well, I found it on the internet. Well, that doesn't mean that it's always true, so don't always trust that. But here we're talking about, can we trust that God knows everything? Well, I'll tell you this. Only God knows everything, and only God knows all that is true. In Isaiah 46:10, we read a moment ago, I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come. So God knows everything from the beginning to the end, from the ancient times a long time ago to things that haven't even happened yet. So even though we as humans don't know everything and we can't trust what we know is true, we can know that we serve a God who knows everything, and he is the ultimate truth. And so God knows all things. Past, present, future, what could be. Therefore, we can trust him without a question. So that answers that. Does God really know everything? Yes, he does. He tells us in the Bible that he does. And so we can trust that. So kids, what does this mean? This means that no one and nothing can compare to God. He is the one true God. He is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he is the God of truth. And because of that, we can trust that he is who he says he is. So we talked tonight about being counterfeit, what that means, about looking at false gods, and we learned that through the fake money. We learned what God is like. We learned the big term of omniscient, knowing that God is all-knowing. We had some great artwork with Mr. John, and we can't forget that we watched some really funny videos sent in just by you guys. We had a great time. It was so much fun. Don't forget to send in your videos for next week because we'll be able to show those on the video. Don't forget to tune in on Sundays to hear Mr. Jim Vaughn do the Connect Group lesson. And you know what, guys? I'm so glad we get to be here, and I can't wait to see you next week at
4-5 Live!